Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, Star Wars, Age of Republic, Obi-Wan Kenobi. All right, went digital, and this one is actually the first digital comic book that I'm reviewing this week. Gotta loves me some comicsology. And I'm sick as a dog. It just keeps on getting worse, is what it is. Let's get into who made this book, all right? Jody Hauser is the writer. Corey Smith and Wilton Santos are on pencils. Walden Wong on inks. Java Tartaglia on colors, and VC's Travis Lanham on letters. Paulo Rivera did the cover art, and there's a bunch of variant covers. Here, Ian McCraig, Laniel Francis Yu, and Jesus Abratov, Mike McCone, and Guro EFX, and Raza. A lot of variant covers there, and I probably wouldn't have gone into all of them. I would just be like, yeah, there's a lot of them, go look them up. But, like, Jesus Abratov is there, and he's actually been following. I think he was actually the first comics professional who followed me. And, like, I love the guy. He's good people. So, yeah, he deserves, and everybody deserves their names mentioned. Anyway, you guys know how I felt about these comic books when we first started. Like, my initial judgment, like, the end of these books, and now they're bringing these up. I didn't want them to do these books. It just seemed like such a waste of time. And these sons of guns go and hire these great writers and artists to do these amazing jobs on these one-shots where I'm like, oh my God, I can't imagine Star Wars without them at this point. Let's get into the book. I'll get more on that subject in a hot minute. So this is basically an Obi-Wan story, but it's more than that. It's also an Anakin story, because this is when Anakin is just a wee little pupil. There we go. A pup. I was trying to say a pupil and a pup at the same time, and it comes out as pupe. Anyway, so he's a little puke, that's for sure. But that's only when he's older. For now, this is in between episode 1 and episode 2. So, what do you call it? Anakin is trying to learn all this stuff, but again, he feels like he's being held back. Actually, he's not at the point where he feels like he's being held back yet, but this is the stirrings of those. Starting to realize, like, you're putting me with the kids, but I'm so far advanced, so far ahead of these guys. There's also the feeling that he gets that he wasn't wanted, that Obi-Wan got stuck with him at some point. After Qui-Gon died, because Qui-Gon took him on as an apprentice. He chose him as an apprentice, and he feels like Obi-Wan took him on more as a responsibility towards his master, towards Qui-Gon, as opposed to because he wanted to actually take Anakin on. And there was a really good moment in here, and it wasn't quite a choke-up moment, but it really honestly could have been. Like, if I wasn't paying more attention, then yeah, I think that it would have, like, caught me completely by surprise. But the art on this, man, holy crap. There's the one panel in here where it looks exactly like the movie. That movie where you see Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and Anakin all in the same image. Like, the facial expressions on the character, specifically on Obi-Wan, they get the facial expression down perfect. And damn it, if that doesn't elevate this comic to something better, I don't know what does. Because it's a beautiful scene that is very moving. All that being said, this is supposed to be an Obi-Wan story. Kids. Hopefully none of them grow up to be a frickin' Anakin. Anyway, the point is, this is supposed to be an Obi-Wan story, and it is beautifully written. For crying out loud, man. Obi-Wan is basically told that there's a non-Republic planet, but with Republic citizens working an archaeological dig on this planet. And they discovered what may be a Jedi holocron. We're going to need you to go and find this thing, grab it, and reacquire it, bring it back to us, bud. He's like, all right, I'll go. And he decides last minute, with the advice of Yoda, hey, man, I think that you should go down and bring Anakin with you. So he chooses to bring Anakin with him. This is cool, man, because there is the mention there that from Obi-Wan that Anakin, that Yoda has been taking an interest in Anakin lately. It's like, I thought you didn't even want him on, but you're really helping me out with the advice. And like, this is Yoda. It can't be easy to always write Yoda so well all the time. It can't be. Because I know that, from the outset, those of us who don't write for the character, those of us who don't write comics, I read them. I don't write them yet. It's pretty easy to say, oh, it's easy to write Yoda. You just make him like this. Until you've actually written him, you don't know how hard it would be to write him. And looking at the character critically, it must be really difficult to write a character who's, for the most part, always right, but in almost cryptic language, well, definitely cryptic language, but almost cryptic ways, so that you are actually making the decision. You are actually the one who's deciding to do the right thing. And we know that those who don't follow Yoda's advice usually wind up screwing up. They usually wind up doing something wrong. But he's always going to, he's kind of like Aleister Crowley in some ways. Aleister Crowley, the wickedest man alive. He's dead now. But Aleister Crowley, in his thaumaturgical studies, it was said about him, he would never, he would always tell his students, don't follow me. I'm about to go into the gate of hell. I'm about to walk into hell itself. Don't follow me. But when he walked into hell, he would leave the door open and he would let you make the decision. Like, that's the kind of person that Yoda has to be written like. You know what I'm saying? He has to be written in that way where it feels like you're the one making the choices, but you know that his guidance was there all the time. And afterwards, you kind of like, nice one. I see what you did there. You know what I'm saying? That cannot be easy, but that's exactly how Yoda was written here. I'm just saying, pure props. That was awesome. Obi-Wan does make a decision to go down there, and he comes into what's actually kind of a very basic standoff, where a guy has a sword to Anakin's neck, and he's like, I'm going to kill him if you don't give me your... well, I'm not even going to tell you what he's actually looking for, but it makes even more sense that that's what happens here. That was really cool. The way that it was resolved, again, a little bit basic, but I'm okay with that. Because it can't all be just focused on one character. You have to sometimes spread the wealth a little bit, because this is an Obi-Wan story. And a lot of what Obi-Wan is Anakin Skywalker. Think about that. I also wonder, Jodie Houser, again, is the writer who wrote this. God, I'm so sick, I can't think right. She's the writer who wrote this. There's my eloquent English for you right there. Can you tell I used to teach English? Actually, I still do. Oh, God, I'm sick. Okay, look, so my point is, when you're going to write a character in a way that, it's almost like throwing this in really quick. You know what I'm saying? When you're going to write a character who was essentially adopted, I feel like you have to know about adoption. You know what I'm saying? And I wonder, did Jodie Houser only review or look up adoption? Has she genuinely considered adopting a child, or has she already adopted a child? Because honestly, that's how well this interaction between Anakin and Obi-Wan is written. He feels like an actual adopted child. And like, I've been friends with, I'm not in touch with him anymore, unfortunately, but I've been friends with two people who were adopted. You know what I'm saying? And I know the conversations. One guy, one girl. You know what I'm saying? Two different families. I know the conversations that we've had. I know, you know what I'm saying, not firsthand, but secondhand, directly, the thoughts, the feelings, stuff like that. And that feels like it was perfectly just, interwoven into this story. It felt like an actual adoption story without it actually saying that. And that's pretty cool too. The point is, at the end of the day, I didn't want these comic books to be written in the first place. I wanted things to continue as status quo. And yet, somehow, this comic book and a bunch of other comic books like this, the Age of Republic comic books, somehow these things are written so damn well. And the art, you could tell that people are actually trying to draw these. These aren't just, I thought these were just going to be a bunch of 27 throwaway comics, all a bunch of one-shots that, who cares, they're not going to matter in the future. I'm starting to think that's not the case anymore. because the writing that is being put into this, the effort, is real. The art, the love that's being put into this comic book, art-wise, is real. These don't feel like throwaway comic books, and that means something. That's excellent. I love that. So I'm still not going to go and start getting the physical copies of these because I just don't need them in my physical collection. I don't have that much room. But I will still continue getting these things on Comixology and just have that perfect catalog right away to come back to these. And it's funny, I feel like I will be coming back to these comic books at some point in the future as reference points. I love these books. These are great. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for me. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.